US withdraws troops from Middle East. Will Trump strike Iran in 24 hours? Nobody expected what happened just hours ago. An encrypted message from the Pentagon sent every US base in the Middle East into full alert. Right now, emergency meetings are underway in Washington, and experts are saying just one thing: the clock is ticking. Latest reports from Washington confirm that the US military has begun quietly withdrawing troops from critical points across the Middle East. Personnel from Al Udeid Air Base were evacuated urgently last night. Eyewitnesses described heavily loaded military cargo planes taking off one after another just before darkness fell. The sound of roaring engines echoed across the desert as massive C-17 Globemasters disappeared into the night sky. A White House statement indicated this movement was part of a regional security assessment. However, leaked information from inside the Pentagon tells a very different story. Intelligence sources, speaking on condition of anonymity, revealed that this is no ordinary troop rotation. This is preparation for something much bigger. But the real attention-grabbing detail was the timing of this evacuation. Trump met with his national security team behind closed doors yesterday morning and delivered a blunt message: if we're going to act, it must be fast and decisive. I don't want another Iraq or Afghanistan. One official who attended the meeting, speaking anonymously, stated, "The president made it crystal clear that military options against the Iranian regime are on the table. But there's one condition: this operation must not turn into a prolonged war." So what does this decision mean? Experts believe the US is repositioning assets it would use in a potential strike on Iran. But there's a problem: Pentagon officials cannot guarantee Trump that the Iranian regime will collapse quickly. Military analysts have warned that any strike could trigger a chain reaction across the entire Middle East. Oil prices have already spiked by 8% in the last 24 hours on speculation alone. Financial markets are trembling with uncertainty. Iran responded to these reports immediately. The government spokesman in Tehran made a statement on national television with these words: "We are ready to respond to any American aggression. All US bases in the region are legitimate targets for us." He stood at a podium flanked by military commanders in full uniform, their expression stone cold. The message was clear: Iran will not back down. Footage released by the Revolutionary Guards showed ballistic missiles being tested and coastal defense units conducting war drills. Hundreds of soldiers marched in perfect formation as missiles were paraded through the streets of Tehran. The Iranian Foreign Ministry issued a warning: America's provocations could lead to a regional catastrophe. The Guards' naval forces were shown practicing swarming tactics with fast attack boats, the same tactics they've threatened to use to close the Strait of Hormuz. But minutes later, a document emerged that took the situation to an entirely different dimension. A report allegedly leaked from the Pentagon spread rapidly across social media. The document detailed a limited but effective air strike plan targeting Iran's critical military and nuclear facilities. Security experts immediately began analyzing every word of the leaked document, trying to determine its authenticity. One striking detail in the report: operation can be launched within 24 to 48 hours. However, Iran's retaliation capacity has not been fully calculated. The document outlined three primary target categories: nuclear enrichment facilities, ballistic missile production sites, and command and control centers of the Revolutionary Guards. Satellite imagery attached to the leak showed potential strike zones circled in red. The White House refused to comment on this document. The Pentagon spokesperson said, "Various scenario studies are always conducted. This does not mean an attack is imminent." But defense officials off the record admitted that multiple strike packages have been prepared and are ready for presidential authorization. The plans have been refined over several days of intense wargaming sessions. Israel has maintained its silence, but a statement from Prime Minister Netanyahu's office caught attention: Israel is prepared for any scenario against the Iranian threat. Israeli military sources reported that their air force has increased sortie rates and that aero missile defense batteries have been placed on maximum alert. The Israeli government has also begun distributing gas masks to civilians in certain areas, a move that hasn't been seen since the 2006 Lebanon war. However, other allies in the region are more cautious. Qatar's foreign minister stated, "We will not permit our airspace to be used for military operations." This is a significant blow to U.S. planning, as Al Udeid houses the forward headquarters of U.S. Central Command and is the largest American base in the Middle East. Saudi Arabia has adopted a similar position, with Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman reportedly calling Trump to urge restraint. Did these reactions cause the U.S. to reconsider its plans? According to leaked information from the White House, Trump is hesitant about acting alone without the support of allies. However, the escalation of protests in Iran and the regime's brutal crackdown on demonstrators are testing Trump's patience. Reports from inside Iran describe security forces firing directly into crowds, with bodies being removed from streets under cover of darkness. Last night, Trump addressed Iranian protesters at a rally in Detroit. "Help is on the way. Write down their names, they will be held accountable." The crowd erupted in applause as Trump pointed toward the cameras. His words were immediately translated and shared on Iranian social media channels that remained accessible through VPN connections. But what did he mean exactly? Was this just rhetoric or a promise of imminent action? According to defense experts, the US has three main options regarding Iran. First, precision bombardment targeting nuclear facilities and missile launch sites. However, this increases the risk of Iranian retaliation. Intelligence assessments suggest Iran could launch simultaneous attacks against US bases in Iraq, Syria, Kuwait, Bahrain, and Qatar within hours of any American strike. The Revolutionary Guards have reportedly prepositioned assets for exactly such a contingency. The second option is cyber sabotage targeting critical infrastructure and special forces operations against high-profile targets. Less risky but with uncertain outcomes. The US has successfully used cyber weapons against Iran before, most notably the Stuxnet virus that damaged centrifuges at Natanz. But Iran has since hardened its networks and developed its own formidable cyber capabilities. Any cyber operation would need to be coordinated with kinetic strikes to maximize effectiveness. The third option is a full-scale ground operation. This is the choice Trump absolutely does not want. The memories of the Iraq invasion with 160,000 troops are still fresh. Military planners have presented estimates that a ground invasion of Iran would require at least 500,000 troops and could last years. The mountainous terrain and the size of Iran, roughly equivalent to Alaska, would make any occupation attempt extraordinarily difficult and costly. So which option will Trump choose? The answer is hidden in that meeting happening right now at the White House. The National Security Advisor stayed in the Oval Office until late last night. Officials emerging from the meeting left journalists' questions unanswered. Only one said, "The president has made his decision," and quickly walked away. But there was one detail the cameras caught that nobody initially noticed. According to CIA reports, Iran's financial system is at the point of collapse. Revolutionary Guard salaries are not being paid, and people are rising up. Some analysts say the regime could collapse from within. Is this Trump's waiting strategy? Or is he preparing a last-minute shock? The situation is about to spiral out of control, and nobody knows the next move. Financial experts note that Iran's foreign currency reserves have plummeted to critically low levels, and the rial has lost 60% of its value in just 3 weeks. The latest information from the Pentagon indicates that U.S. Central Command has prepared multiple strike plans. B-2 stealth bombers have been placed on standby alert status at their bases in Missouri. The USS Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group is heading toward the Persian Gulf, accompanied by guided missile destroyers and cruisers equipped with Tomahawk missiles. Attack submarines are also believed to be moving into position, though their locations remain classified. But there's a problem: the U.S. military presence in the region is not sufficient for a full-scale war. There are only about 40,000 troops spread across 19 different bases. This is dramatically less than the force levels during the Iraq War. To put this in perspective, there are more U.S. troops stationed in Japan right now than in the entire Middle East. Military logistics experts have warned that any sustained operation would require weeks of reinforcement. Some members of Congress are trying to dissuade Trump from military action. The chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee said, "War should not be an option before diplomatic channels are exhausted." Several senators have invoked the War Powers Resolution, arguing that Trump would need congressional authorization for any sustained military campaign. But White House lawyers have countered that the president has authority to conduct limited strikes under his constitutional powers as commander-in-chief. The UN Secretary General proposed an emergency mediation meeting. However, Trump rejected proposals to meet with Iranian leaders, stating, "I don't sit down with murderers." He elaborated in a later tweet, "They've killed thousands of their own people in the streets. They've sponsored terrorism across the region. They've attacked our allies. Why would I negotiate with these thugs?" His words drew both support and criticism from foreign policy experts. And right at this point, a detail that everyone had overlooked came to light. Protesters in Iran continue to ask for help from the US via social media. However, internet outages have made it nearly impossible to connect with the outside world. The Iranian government has implemented one of the most comprehensive internet blackouts in history, shutting down mobile data networks and blocking international gateway connections. Only a handful of satellite links remain operational. Is Trump's "help is on the way" statement just a psychological move? Or is it a harbinger of a real operation? Iranian activists have managed to smuggle out videos showing the scale of the protests. One video, verified by multiple sources, shows a massive crowd in Tehran chanting anti-regime slogans. Another shows security forces beating protesters with batons. The brutality has shocked international observers. Intelligence reports suggest the death toll may exceed 3,000, though exact figures are impossible to verify due to the information blackout. Hospitals have been ordered not to report protest-related casualties. Families of victims have been threatened with arrest if they speak to foreign media. Mass graves are rumored to have been dug on the outskirts of several cities. Experts say this is just the beginning. According to information received just minutes before going on air, the White House press secretary will make a special announcement tomorrow at 2 p.m. The subject has not been disclosed. This unusual scheduling has fueled speculation that a major decision has been made. Typically, such precisely timed announcements are reserved for significant policy declarations or military operations. The press secretary's office has refused to provide any advance guidance to reporters. The Pentagon has ordered all personnel to high readiness status. U.S. citizens in the Middle East have been warned to leave the region. The State Department has authorized the departure of non-essential embassy personnel from Iraq, Kuwait, and Bahrain. Commercial airlines have begun rerouting flights away from Iranian airspace. Insurance rates for ships transiting the Strait of Hormuz have quadrupled overnight. The panic spreading within minutes has put all embassies in the region on alert. European allies are scrambling to respond. Germany's foreign minister has called for restraint from all parties. France has proposed an emergency UN Security Council meeting. Britain, despite its close alliance with the US, has expressed reservations about military action. The UK Foreign Secretary stated, "We support our American allies, but we must carefully consider the consequences of any military intervention." British military personnel have been quietly withdrawn from exposed positions. Regional powers are also positioning themselves. Turkey has closed its airspace to US military flights, a significant diplomatic blow. Iraq's parliament has passed a resolution demanding the removal of all US forces from Iraqi territory. The Iraqi government finds itself caught between its security partnership with Washington and its economic ties with Tehran. Prime Minister al-Sudani has warned that Iraq will not be a platform for attacking Iran. The economic implications are staggering. Oil prices have surged past $95 per barrel, the highest level in 2 years. Analysts project that if hostilities break out, prices could spike to $150 or higher, potentially triggering a global recession. Stock markets have entered correction territory, with the Dow Jones falling 800 points in volatile trading. Gold prices have jumped to record highs as investors flee to safe haven assets. Military analysts point out the challenges any U.S. operation would face. Iran has spent decades preparing for exactly this scenario. They've built extensive underground facilities, dispersed their military assets, and developed asymmetric warfare capabilities. The Revolutionary Guards have threatened to unleash their proxy forces across the region, including Hezbollah in Lebanon, militias in Iraq and Syria, and Houthi rebels in Yemen. This could open multiple fronts simultaneously. The human cost would be catastrophic. Pentagon estimates suggest that even a limited strike campaign could result in thousands of casualties. Iranian cities are densely populated, and many military facilities are located in urban areas. Collateral damage would be inevitable. The humanitarian consequences of a wider war could dwarf even the Syrian civil war, potentially displacing millions of refugees and destabilizing the entire region for a generation. Intelligence agencies are working around the clock to provide Trump with the clearest possible picture. Spy satellites are monitoring every Iranian military installation. Signal intelligence is intercepting Revolutionary Guards communications. CIA operatives are attempting to make contact with opposition figures inside Iran. But there are massive intelligence gaps, particularly regarding Iran's secret nuclear work and the regime's hidden weapons stockpiles. The clock is ticking. 24 hours are about to expire. And the world is waiting for Trump's next move. So how will that move be written in history?